another Friday. Welcome to your favorite show, PM Personality Profile. My guest tonight, your favorite, my favorite radio personality with 26 years experience in radio. She is the longest serving staff of the multimedia group. Currently the host of the Cosmopolitan mix on Joy FM. We affectionately call her Queen of the Airwaves. Welcome, Doreen Andoh. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm glad I could make it.
How do you feel when people refer to you as Queen of the Airwaves?
Sometimes I have to look around me to make sure that are they referring to me? But it's a good feeling, and you know, it's a blessing. I honestly think that, you know, I don't do it myself, and I think that is just God who made it so, and so I thank Him. It's a blessing, honestly.
We're happy for you. But so you actually won an award for that status, Queen of the Airwaves.
It wasn't an award per se, but it was a group of women entrepreneurs, etc., who came together to honor me on one International Women's Day.
Okay.
And so the citation they had that day had Queen of the Airwaves written on it, and that's how it got stuck.
Okay. And you won another in 2013. Tell me about it.
Oh, the awards are many.
Okay,
so
let's talk about it.
I have lost track. Like I said earlier, the 2013 one was it was an honorary award, so to speak, and so the women came to the studio to present
so that's
it
the
to
one
me.
that you talked about.
Right.
Okay.
So that was an honorary
Tell
award.
me about the others.
And the others were probably radio and television. Others will probably be honorary awards, and a lot of them will have to do with
the best radio personality of the
Oh
year.
yes,
Which
several
year
times.
Okay.
I can't remember the year, but I can remember that I won it about 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
And I mean, the show won it for the station, etc. And so yes, those awards are there, but honestly I can't remember which year.
Oh, I must say we admire you a lot. And you were one of the people who inspired me. I mean, I've admired you from a very young age, and you were one of the people who inspired me on my journey to becoming a journalist. So we really, really are proud.
Well, I am blessed. You make me look like, it's telling my age.
But you don't even look your age. You're blessed.
Thank you.
So who is Doreen Andoh?
Interesting question. I'm just a regular next door girl, you know, affable. I was born ready. I love what I do. I love people. I enjoy life. I'm a child of God. And I think I should have come first. And yeah, it's just me, you know, I just love being me.
Oh my goodness. So Andoh means you're from the central region, right?
Yes, I'm from Elmina.
Elmina, to be specific. Okay, both parents?
No, my dad was from Elmina and my mom is Ga. So my mom is from Accra.
Okay, so real Ga.
Oh yes.
And they come fantastic.
In Kanina.
Oh my
goodness.
So okay, they kawado padwa.
Oh, nchesi siya makmana padu.
Interesting. So let's talk about growing up. So were you born in Accra or in Elmina?
I was born in Tema.
In Tema. Oh, yes. She's a Tema girl.
But of course, I rep the right way.
Okay. So born and bred?
Yes.
Buttered cheese in Tema?
The cheese may be sausage.
Okay.
Yes, born, bred and buttered.
In Tema?
Yes.
Tell me about growing up.
I was born in Tema, the General Hospital. My parents lived at Tema Community 2, and so I went to kindergarten and to my Parents Association school.
Okay.
And then I pretty much grew up a lot also in my grandma's house, which is in Community 1. So I spent a lot of my after school hours there.
Okay.
And fast forward to secondary school, I went to St. Rose's, I went to Holy Child, and so a lot of my holiday time was also spent in Tema.
Okay.
Yeah.
So St. Rose's in Akwetia?
Yes.
Holy Child in Cape,
Cape
Coast?
Coast, yes.
Wow, from Tema all the way?
Oh, well, it's a drive away. We can go, right?
Tell me about that experience. I guess secondary school and
Yes.
then Apasis.
Yes,
okay.
yes. So
Tell
I
me
did
about it.
secondary school from 1 to 5 in St. Rose's. I mean, what I am today, I owe to St. Rose's simply because we had nuns who were pretty much strict, but they kept us in check. We learned to do the right things at the right time at the right places. It wasn't a big school, and so we were a class of maybe 32, 2 streams, and everybody knew everybody.
Okay.
There was a lot of love and respect, and I enjoyed my time in St. Rose's. I learned a lot. We would learn, we would, you know, fraternize, we would weed, we would go to church, we would do farm work, and entertainment and all of that stuff. It was, a lot of people will probably think it was a little bit stringent, but it was good.
And of course, I know about the strictness in St. Rose's, but
Right.
that also didn't rule the fact that there were some bad girls there. Were you a bad girl?
Oh no, I didn't have time to be bad. I was having too much fun.
Okay.
My classmates would tell you, as a happy-go-lucky young girl, I would have fun and I would learn when it was time to do so. And so, no, bad girl didn't show up, no.
You still are a happy-go-lucky girl, but so from St. Rosie's to
Yes.
Holy Child.
Yes, I was a year. I studied a year abroad, so I lived in Denmark and went to school for a year, and then I came back and went to Holy Child to do sixth form.
Okay.
And so my classmates went ahead of me. And
How
so,
was the experience like?
oh, it was wonderful. I mean, imagine a happy-go-lucky 16 or 17-year-old girl.
She doesn't care about anything.
Please, I didn't have a care in the world. I only knew, though, that I was an ambassador for my country, and so I had to just keep my head straight. But I enjoyed myself. Yes, I had a good time.
Okay, what would you describe as your most challenging moment in secondary school and even in sixth form?
I didn't face that many challenges when I studied in St. Rose's from 1 to 5, simply because I was growing, I was learning. But my challenges came in when I went to sixth form, because then I was experiencing a whole new environment.
Yes.
You know, so I had to lend my experience from St. Rose's and bring it to Holy Child.
Okay.
Secondly, I had only 2 years, which was pretty much 18 months to study and write A-level. So it was challenging. Every moment I had to make sure that I was studying, or else I was going to miss it.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a little bit tight because we had too much to do in a very short time, in a different environment with new people, bigger school. So yeah, but I had to tune myself to it.
But finally you made it. So
Yeah.
what did you read in secondary school?
I was a science student, so I did physics, chemistry, and biology.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness. Science
Yeah,
student.
I don't look like a geek one
Down
bit, right?
behind the console.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Also, I can imagine the calculation that goes on when you are behind the
Oh,
console.
a little bit, not too much. A little bit, not too much.
So from secondary school all up to sixth form, did you know right from that age that you were going to go into broadcasting?
No.
It met you
I
halfway.
will summarize the story to you. I probably told it a zillion times, but I'll summarize it for you.
Please do.
So when I finished sixth form, I was supposed to write my physics paper again.
Okay.
Tells you about the challenges, right? I was supposed to write my physics paper again. So
Were
in the
you
process,
having issues with maths?
no. I was a
Physics?
cool math student, but my physics head wasn't there yet.
Okay.
So I had to do Second World War. In the process, oh yes, my Second World War. In the process of studying to write my Second World War in physics, I had a car accident, broke my 2 legs.
Oh,
and so
sorry.
I missed out on that year altogether.
Okay.
When I got better, I went back and wrote the exams. When I was getting ready to go to university, because I wanted to study pharmacy, when I was getting ready to go to university, the lecturers went on strike that year. So I found myself at home.
Oh.
And then Joy FM started. So I was
Okay.
just listening to their test broadcast, and I thought, this is something I could do.
Yeah.
It sounded like a fun thing. So a friend of mine who was a friend of the station was recording jingles for the station. So I went to speak to him and I said to him, I want to work here even if it's part-time because the lecturers are on strike. Then he says, oh, well, why not? I will talk to the people and let them know. And that's how I ended up at Joy FM, because then I was called in. I came in, they asked me if I had an audition tape. I said, what's that? I don't know, I haven't seen it before. So, so then they said, okay, well, we're going to give you a newspaper to read out loud just so we can check how you read and all of that. So they did, which was Tommy Annan Forson, Mr. Kwesi Chum, Brigadier Chum then, and then Dusty Wayne of blessed memory. So they took me through a reading and hearing session, and they said to me, we'd like for you to show up tomorrow. I was like, yeah, sure. So I showed up the next day. Then Fred Chidi put in my hands something that looked like a news bulletin. This was about 11 a.m. He said, well, you're reading the news at noon. I'm like, all right. So I went to the script over and over and over and over again. At midday, they took me into the studio and I read the news, and that's how I started.
And bam, that was it.
That was my starting
Wow.
point. I was thinking about it as a part-time job.
Okay. So
And then when I started doing it and I started enjoying it, I'm like, I could actually switch and study this.
okay.
So I didn't even tell my parents that I wasn't going to university to do pharmacy any longer. But in actual fact, I went for prospectus and all paperwork from GIG and said to my dad, I want to study journalism and public relations. He's like, are you serious?
That was in the plan.
Yeah. And
And they were easily convinced.
no, my dad wasn't mad per se, but it was more like he had to think about it, you know, okay, let's see how this goes kind of thing. And I got glued to the idea that this is what I really want to do. And so I went to GIG.
And what about
Mom? She wasn't, but she didn't really prevent me from doing what I wanted to do. And so it's one thing I'm always grateful to my parents for, that they believed in me and they actually also gave me the chance to do what I really wanted to do. Yeah.
So then at GIG, how was it like?
I studied public relations in
Okay.
GIG, and then I went back to study event management in GIG. So I enjoyed my stay there. I was going to work and studying at the same time, and so it was pretty much easy for me to do. And then I traveled in '97.
Okay.
I met this guy who said to me, you know what, there's a school in Colombia that, you know, you could benefit from. So I got him to give me all the paperwork. And then when I came back, I applied to go to Columbia School of Broadcasting. So I studied radio and television broadcast at Columbia School of Broadcasting in Virginia.
Okay.
But then I had to travel to go and do it and come back.
And come back.
Yeah.
And you came back to Joy FM.
Yes, luckily when I came, they were like, come on in.
So that's where your broadcasting career started,
Yes.
at Joy FM.
Yes.
And it's been there.
Yes.
Oh, they say she's a master of the game. She's done this for 26 years. When I return from that break, she'll be taking us through her radio career and also tell us when she would finally say, I am fulfilled. Now I can sit back, relax and watch and hang my boots. All of that when I return from the break. Welcome back to PM Personality Profile. My guest tonight, one of the nicest voices you can hear on radio, and we're having fun talking about herself and her growing up. Doreen, you are the longest serving staff of the multimedia group. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful to God that I could do it, because then you know how it is, like when you feel like you ought to jump ship because you know, you probably don't like what's going on, or you think it's about time you jump ship. But I guess, you know, it's happened, and we're grateful to God for how far He's brought us.
Tell me about the 26-year journey. I know it wasn't a bed of roses.
It feels like it was yesterday.
Wow.
You know, and it's been my real school of life. Because a lot of things that I have learned about life, I have learned in 355 Hanover Street.
Wow.
I gained a bunch of friends who have become family. I have learned from some amazing people that I've worked with, because I believe strongly that in the industry that we work in, if you open yourself up to be taught, you would learn a lot. Okay. And so I pretty much have opened my mind to say every day is a day to learn. So I've learned from everybody, from the guy at the security point in the front, to the cleaners, to the technicians, to my fellow presenters, to interns, to news editors. I've watched people come and go. I've learned from some of them. And it's very educative, enlightening, very interesting, learning how people react and how people would do things differently, and how you could also learn to do things differently because we are all not cut in the same way. So it's been interesting, very, very enlightening, very interesting.
When you came to Joy FM, you had the voice. No two ways about it.
I didn't even know that I had
it. You didn't know, so you discovered yourself at Joy FM.
Yes.
But of course, there were other things that you learned on the job. How was it like? I mean, who are some of the people you give credit to for actually helping you come this far?
Right on. When I started out, Tommy Ananforson was there as a big teacher because he had been working at GBC for the longest time, and so he brought a lot of experience, a lot of teaching to the plate. I learned a lot from the late Dusty Wayne. Gabi Adjete was there to help me with the music. Mark, Okrekumonte and Cox were there as well. They were always ever supportive. They were my boys because I used to hang with them all the time. Okay. And out of conversation, I learned a lot from them. Mr. Sam Yeboah will come in to give us, you know, English lessons, proper phonetics and all of that, and I'm forever grateful to him. And I also was in the newsroom for a while, so I learned and I studied under Fred Chidi, Malco Zomelo, and Susan Ampofo, and some amazing people who've come through the station, yes. And of course, later on when Komla came in, we worked together. I learned from him, he learned from me, and we were just a happy family.
Interesting. And of course, I'm happy you mentioned Komla. And I remember last year when we were having a memorial service for Komla, you spoke about how wonderful Komla has been a colleague to work with. What are some of the tenets you picked from Komla? Or he came to meet you there, right?
Of course, yes.
Yes, but Komla is a gem. How was your working relationship? Maybe I should put it that way.
Okay, firstly, I'd probably say Komla was like my brother.
Okay.
We had one thing in common simply because he was studying in medical school and then he quit to do journalism.
Yes.
I was going to go to do pharmacy, and so we will talk about that a lot and how our parents reacted to it, and we always call ourselves rebels. But yes, but Komla was smart and extremely smart, and I would try and copy from him how he could pick a script and read it and probably just pick up the salient points and talk it. So a lot of my talking on my feet, I also learned from Komla, because then we supported each other, and he would say, Doreen, just pick the words that you remember.
Okay.
You know, and
don't stress yourself.
Yeah, don't stress yourself with every word in the script. If you think that you can remember 4 words in the script, just take that and use that to expatiate or, you know, broaden the point that you're trying to make. Yeah. And so, you know, we were good.
Yeah,
we were good.
I can imagine.
We were good.
But of course, I'm sure there were challenges as well. 26 years is no mean achievement, and it couldn't have been all smooth.
No, it's not. I always tell people that my work is fun and it's very exciting. It's just the people that I work with. And so sometimes, yes, people can't understand the urgency of something that has to be done. And so then they will slow you down. That is a big challenge, because with radio, time is of the essence. And so you probably are waiting for somebody to come into the newsroom or come into the studio to read the news at a certain hour. So you can move on to what you need to do. And the person doesn't show up, and so you will flip. And sometimes you're probably looking for a salesperson to sell a certain idea that you want to, you know, run with, and then they're slowing down. And sometimes it's not the fault of the salesperson. It's probably because the client is not ready to dish out the money. And so all those things come in. And sometimes, you know, management can't understand a perspective from which you're working because they don't understand where you are sitting and why you are making those demands. And so all of those things have come up. For instance, you have a machine that is probably a couple years old and it doesn't do the new things that you need for it to do. Exactly. So you're like, can you change the machine to X? And then they'd be like, why do we have to change it if this one is working? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. I'm like, well, it's not working the way I want it to work, you know? So yeah, those things come up.
So how have you been able to overcome those challenges?
Well, sometimes I just shut my eyes and say, well, I only work here.
But sometimes you can't shut your eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've really built a certain trust among your audience and they expect nothing but the best from you. And here are some machines not giving you what you're looking for. How do you actually, permeate?
Well, sometimes, you know, you probably go to work with a backup and say, okay, if I went in there and the machine that has all the music on it doesn't play, I've come with CDs.
Okay.
So I'd rather play from a CD player. And so there's so many times when, you know, you've probably gone into a studio where you have a promotion running, you don't have sponsorship, but you say, okay, let's run this thing as just a radio idea. And maybe after a week or so, the sponsorship will come in. So sometimes you really have to think outside the box and create your own augmentation and then run with it. Otherwise, you will look bad because it's your face.
Yeah. So let's talk about a typical Doreen Andoh day. I mean, your audience expect nothing but the best from you. You're coming to do the Cosmopolitan mix and you need to arrange. How do you plan your day?
All right. Usually I would do a show prep.
Okay.
My show prep usually starts the night before I come to work.
I
probably would sit with my laptop and go through my music. And sometimes I probably would need to go through like maybe 4 or 5 songs. Or I could just throw in a bunch of about maybe 30 songs and say, okay, let me throw in 30 songs. So I'm writing all of these down. And then when I get to the studio, I arrange them and play them as it comes.
Okay.
Now, that works. And sometimes I probably work on instincts. So sometimes there are days when I could just have one song playing in my head and I could just walk into the studio and use my instincts to play the rest of the show. So sometimes I plan it and sometimes I just need a couple of songs to be playing in my head and I build upon it.
The mixing part though, how this one is able to sink into this, into that, and then it's seamless.
Okay, now all these songs have tempos.
Yeah.
And so if I can relate to the tempo, then I know that I don't have to go low and then go high and go low and go high. I can go from low and pick up the tempo as I go on. And so I can dictate the tempo, or I can start from mid-tempo and go mid-tempo all the way, but everything stays around the same sound level. So it depends on how I feel, one, and two, how I think my audience are feeling, because I don't see my audience, but I imagine what they feel and what they're going through, and then I just play. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know.
We don't see it out there.
you know, that's the beauty of radio. You don't see me hustling to find one that will work, you know.
Okay, but I mean, it's all good.
Yeah.
We enjoy your music.
Thank you.
And for 26 years you have done this. There are a number of young people coming up who want to be like you, but sometimes they don't know how to go about it. What's your advice for the younger ones out there?
I always say that even though you're following your passion, go back to school. Now, school could be a classroom and school could be learning on the job, so that you have to open up yourself to be taught. Now, if you can learn on the job or you can go to a classroom to learn, it's always a good thing. And another thing is practice, 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 practice. I always put myself in the place of a footballer. I say before they score that goal, they've probably done it 25 or 25,000 times.
Yeah.
They've done it over and over and over again. And so the fact that you do it over and over again makes you a better person. And it applies to almost every other thing that you do. If you do it over and over again, it makes you a better person at doing exactly that thing.
Wow. Interesting to hear that. Let me pick your thought on this one, because you deal a lot with these musicians and what have you. This new thing they call beefing. They think it sells. What's your take on this?
Truth is, some of these musicians agree that they're going to be beefing before the beef starts.
They actually do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Some people agree that, you know, I'm about to start a new song. I'm about to release a new song. So, you know, can you just behave as if, you know, kind of thing. Some of them agree before they start the beef. And so if you can read through that, you're fine. But for those who don't agree to beef and they beef, I think, yes, it doesn't augur well for the industry, one. And two, where else is it going to lead you? Are you going to be beefing for life? How do you think your children will view you when they are older and they realize that my dad wakes up every morning and he's fighting with his buddy? It definitely doesn't sit well. So in as much as you could let your child understand that, well, that beef was arranged beforehand, that's great. But if you can, explain to your child who you're also trying to, straighten up, then don't do it at all, because then it doesn't add up to anything. What do you gain from the beef? Yeah. It doesn't help the industry.
It really doesn't add anything.
It doesn't. And it doesn't even make you, the musician, or the person actually look any better in society.
Well, we've been figuring out what can work for our music industry. So, I mean, we can actually move on from where we are rather than staying here and beefing.
Right.
And we've been trying all sort of... have you figured out something that could work for the music industry?
Well, my thing first is, I think the musicians should go out of their comfort zones and create music that is authentic, and one that is free of lewd lyrics, and one that people will enjoy. Now, after they've done that, I think the organizations also that manage these musicians should also step up to their game and pay the musicians what is due them.
They deserve.
And another thing too is the fact that you are a musician or you call yourself a musician doesn't mean that you can put any lyrics together and go and sit out there and just sing. But what you want to be doing is to make sure that you're doing music that is educational. Apart from the fact that it's fun, make sure that 10 years from now also your music would be able to, touch the people. Yeah. So your music must have longevity. Your music must be able to, hit the dance floor and that everybody will dance to it. Timeless music is also another thing that we're looking out for. Just so that you can stay in the game no matter how old you are, because then when you're old and your music gets played, you get paid for it.
So what type of musicians would you give credit to when it comes to this type of,
staying strong in the business?
In the business.
No, I think the likes of JoyNews Ambule has, he's done his time. Somebody like Pat Thomas has, done his time, but Kojo Intri, Amachi Dede, I mean, all these people, the minute you hear their music, you're moved to dance, because they created music not for the moment, but for the future. And so, there's several other musicians who are probably dead and gone. Nana Tufo, for example, his music is still being played. And we have several local acts too, even though they're young, their music is still being played. Look at Tic Tac. Yeah. Look at VIP. The minute you play a VIP song, people will start to dance. I mean, all of these people have contributed greatly to our music. And in as much as some of them are not in business, or some of them have probably slowed down a little bit, their music still is timeless and it still works.
Let me gauge your mood on the media in general. Recently, the media has been attacked for if you like, people say we are inciting people against, for instance, LGBTQ activities and what have you. What's your position, or what's your stance on attack on the media?
Well, it's sad that that's what people think that the media is doing. Basically, what the media is just trying to do is to educate people about exactly what is going on. And I think it also, it's also important for the media to also stick to what is true, what is really happening on the ground, and not just add on their own voice to whatever they see. That way, you will not be seen to be going away from what is actually the truth. Now, if we
staying neutral.
Exactly. If you stay neutral and if we stick to the game, I think gradually people will get to understand that these people are just doing their job by just telling the story the way it is, so that the attacks will stop. And I think when it comes to the general public, I think we should also be a little bit patient, because sometimes you hear a story, but because a lot of people around you have told you another version of it, you tend to believe that and then forget that basically what the media is trying to tell you is what is the truth.
Yep.
I'll give you an example about the vaccination of the vaccines for COVID-19 that is out. I've talked to a number of people, you know, just street workers, and they have a completely different understanding
Of the whole
you know,
thing.
of the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, I would advise you not to just be listening and watching any and everything and imbibing it. But what you want to do is keep your head up. Stick to probably a radio or TV station that you believe in. If you think that that is the right thing they're doing, follow the story. See how true it is as it goes along. And then maybe it will confirm or not confirm what you are trying to believe from what people are telling you. So on both ends, I think we should be also very cautious so that these attacks will not come to hurt us.
Interesting. Is this something you would want your children to do?
I think in as much as I enjoy doing what I do, I think I would also leave my children to do same. They should just go for what they think is right for them, what is easy and understandable for them, and what they think they love to do. I think they should just go ahead and do what they want to do. So if your children
walked to you and say, Mom, I want to be a journalist, what would be your reaction?
I was like, yeah, let's go to school. Let's study it. Let's make sure we are the best journalists that ever was. And that's what I will do.
So at what point, I mean, 26 years is enough, but not enough. But at what point would you say, I've seen it all, I'm fulfilled, I can now sit back, relax, enjoy my drink, and watch what's going on?
I think when I get to Oprah Winfrey's age, I'll do exactly what she did. So I'll probably sit back on a TV station, cross my legs and say, turn to camera, lights out, camera on. And that's what I do.
Okay, so you actually have a plan? A retirement plan, let me say.
Yes, I have a plan.
Okay, you don't want to share with us?
I would probably not say too much about the plan, but I would probably tell you that as and when I feel like I really want to hang my boots for radio, I will hang my boots for radio, but I'll still do media. I probably would do television, or I probably just run my own thing and produce for TV or radio. Okay.
Remember, Doreen is a very good, she swims very well. And when we return from this break, you know what she does. She gives you the soothing music that makes your day. So we'll be going into the studio and see her behind the console doing her own thing, mixing them for you to enjoy. And we'll also probably go to the swimming pool and do some swimming so that you can see her skills in the swimming pool. Stay with me. I'm coming right back. Welcome back to PM Personality Profile. My guest tonight, Doreen Andoh, your favorite radio personality. We're really having fun here. Doreen, remember when you went away for almost a year? It was really terrible for a lot of people who love what you do. And I've personally encountered people who walk to me and say, where is Doreen Andoh? And I'm like, well, she's on leave and all of that. But finally, when they realized that you were pregnant and you went to have babies, they were so happy for you. Share with me the joy of motherhood.
Oh boy. I think every mother will understand where I'm coming from. It's an awesome experience, you know. And more so when there's two babies.
You don't even look it. You had twins?
Yes, I had twins.
You don't look like.
I know, right? Yeah, especially when there are two kids looking at your face and waiting for you to, reach out to them. It's amazing. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I mean, knowing that, these little ones are depending on you, and you're supposed to raise them and raise them right and fend for them. It's awesome.
2 boys, 2 girls,
No.
1 boy, 1 girl.
1 boy, 1 girl. That's the name of a blessing.
And I'm sure by now they've started destroying everything in the
They
house.
walk and talk. Yeah, they destroy. Yeah, and then
They'll mess up everywhere.
I know. You have to learn how to calm down and, not hit them back when they destroy. But it's all good. So far, we're doing fine.
I can tell you're enjoying it.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Just only because, despite the fact that it takes much of your time,
Yes.
but you're enjoying it, right? What kind of a parent are you? Conservative, liberal?
Oh, I'm a mix of 2 because in as much as I'm a laid-back person, I'm a little bit, go by the rules kind of person, and I probably won't take no nonsense from anybody, and so I'll go by the rules. But I'm like, hey, you gotta have your bath or you gotta brush your teeth whether you like it or not. So we gotta do it. So if it takes me, gagging you or holding your hands, fine, we'll do it anyway. So yeah, I'm just right in between. And then when I finish holding your hands to brush your teeth, I'll be like, oh, sorry. But it's all good.
Interesting. But you're very beautiful.
Oops. I'm blushing. Did I turn purple?
A lot must go into this beauty.
Did I turn purple?
What does it take to maintain this beauty?
It maintains a clean heart, a clear mind.
That's it?
That's it. And a lot of water.
That's simple?
That is simple.
My goodness.
Yeah. Because then if you keep a clear mind and a clean heart, you're not mad, you're not angry all the time.
You're always
smiling.
Like,
yeah, I mean, if you get food, you go chop. If you don't get, you keep quiet. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you're hungry and the food not come, drink some water and you'll be fine, So, yeah, you just have to just be content with life, walk your lane. And
let me walk my lane.
Thank you. And just go along. I mean, truth be told, I don't use anything extraordinary. I like to eat healthy. I eat twice a day. I try to eat a regular breakfast. I probably eat a late lunch. I eat a lot of fruit. I drink a lot of water. And that's it.
And that's it. Do you do, apart from swimming, anything to keep fit?
I walk. I can't run because I have metals in both my legs. And so I keep to the water and I keep to the ground.
Oh, wow, wow. But you always soothing people with nice music. People love what you do. You must love music too, to do what you do.
Oh, yeah, I do. Oh.
What's your favorite among all the, the list that you play for us?
It's tough. I like everything. It's very difficult for me to pick one. I can't pick one.
Oh.
I love all genres. I love a lot of music. I can't pick one. No.
You must have a favorite.
I wish I did.
You want to do one for me?
I wish that I had one song that I could. You see, the truth is, if I sang a foreign song to people, will say, Doreen,
why not?
Why don't you sing a local song?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's what you love, isn't it?
Let me think. Okay, let me think local. Back coming home. I like that one.
By who?
Abranti Amachidede. Girlfriend, where have you been?
They're coming home.
Okay. That's a beautiful song. Any day it works. Keep your messages coming in 055 11 11 997.
Baby, trying to find a way to me. Mommy, I know they look. Mommy, I know they see them step. You this boy, you will give me my time. The way you just do me, you will find my friend. Whenever you call me, I come through. No matter the weather. You this boy, you will give me my time. The way you just do me, you will find my friend. Whenever you call me, I come through. No matter the weather. on fire. You be the woman that I need. I be the one man that you see. You set my heart on fire.
It's cooling and chilling out here, 8 minutes past 11. It's bright and sunny outside though, and it's kind of hot. So you want to get a cool spot, turn up the radio. And if you can't do it in your office, it's okay. We'll allow that. You can just put the little, earpieces in your ears and then keep listening to us. We like that too. I am your joy bringer. My name is Doreen Andoh. I will kill you with enjoyment. That's only if you tune in. So make sure your dial is always here.
I go kill you with sugar daddy. Shaky for that. Person where no person, they give person. If you want no person, go first person. I know they sick, you won't give me medicine. I get money, you won't help me spend my money. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy. Allow me to enjoy myself.
Wow. Thank you so much, Doreen Andoh, for talking to us and allowing us into your life. We really admire you and proud of the milestone you've chalked. Keep up the good work, and we wish you well in all your endeavors. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. My beautiful dress was made by Needle Thread Design. Visit their showroom at 34 West Loop, Tesano, or call them on 0543-196451. Same time next week, we'll be coming your way with another interesting personality on PM Personality Profile. Enjoy the rest of our program.
Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Yeah. Oh mama. If you know what make you happy, something go do you. Something go do you. Water go show you. Thunder go yam on you. Something go